Smoke from the disaster was visible up the coastline of the Caribbean. The media blamed money-minded private militias, and scandal followed when the US was fingered as one of the organization's top clients. In response, the Secretary of Defense publicly stated that neither the United States nor its allies had any hand in the incident. Reports also suggest that the IAEA inspectors visited the site. However, the UN and the IAEA insist no inspection took place. Other countries amongst the organization's long list of clients avoided to comment altogether. The casualty figure is uncertain. There are no known survivors. However, in the moments prior and following the incident, several unidentified military helicopters were sighted in the area.
In the years between Peace Walker and the Ground Zeroes incident, Mother Base stood as a symbol of independence, a mark of history, Big Boss's legacy, until it no longer stood. This once beacon of resistance of ideologies came under attack from many angles across the world.
And now a force to be reckoned with. We've got the world's attention. We're not some tribal militia, so don't act like one.
Big Boss's dream is a place where people fought to reclaim their past, present and future. It is, as Big Boss implies, a outer haven. It extends the confines of a systematic control, a group above nations.
We have no nation, no philosophy, no ideology. We go where we're needed, fighting not for country, not for government, but for ourselves.
Whilst this haven was an escape in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, the entire world's eyes were on Big Boss and his forces. It seemed like a perfect metropolis. However, intrusive influence from within and outside would cause its downfall, as the story is presented is quite murky to the reasons for why it fell.
Well, he stabilized, but it took too long. He's in a coma.
That was some operation we had, huh? 9 years ago. Carving out our own world. Making our own future. And they took it away.
In 1974 is where it began. The offshore platform that would become to known as Mother Base was offered to the military Sans Frontiers by Zadornov, who posed under the alias of the University of Peace Professor Ramon Galvez.
For you, Big Boss. I've been watching you all along. You performed beyond even my highest expectations. A true commandante.
What are you talking about?
Why do you think I summoned you to Costa Rica? Had you made contact with the Sandinistas?
The offer was a front payment in kind for the MSF's intervention in a growing crisis in Costa Rica. But beneath the surface, this was Cipher's design. The crisis itself was manufactured, with Hop Coldman's unmanned AI weapons forming the core of a false flag operation orchestrated by Zero to test the next generation's deterrent.
The age of heroes is over, buried alongside the boss and her bankrupt beliefs. From now on, our only heroes will be machines.
Acting in secrecy, Zero dispatched Paz Ortega and arranged a covert deal with Kazuhira Miller to secure MSF's expansion.
I knew Paz and the Professor. I knew who they really were all along.
The plan was clear: manipulate Big Boss into engaging the threat without suspecting the puppet strings.
One look at you, and I see a wide-eyed student yearning for peace. Born and raised in Central America, I can see it all. How much preparation have you done?
A little.
You'll be perfect for this, to strike back at Snake. I'll share everything I know about him.
No, Big Boss doesn't know the truth. No, Langley hasn't decided what to do yet. Their hands are full with their own mess. True, Lubyanka is in the same boat. Yes, other eyes continue to watch, but no sign of contact so far. Exactly. It's a non-state army to use however they want. They've probably decided there's no sense in wiping them out just yet. Better to make use of them. Indeed they have. There's a site near Angola. And we fully validated the AI as well. Agreed. In the end, a machine is just that. A machine. Sigan was right. It seems it's time for a change in approach. Machines are best suited to specialize in high-level data processing. Yes, of course. Speaking of which, any news on the Suns? 2. Already? Really? But they're strictly an insurance policy, yes? So that's the idea. I wonder how Big Boss will respond. Yes, but I'm only interested in the business angle.
Cipher's dual objectives were to assess the AI weapons, particularly Peace Walker, for future control systems, and to rapidly grow MSF's military infrastructure until it was ripe for a hostile takeover, transforming into the Cipher's own proxy deterrent force. When that failed, their fallback was to modify Metal Gear Zeke, MSF's homegrown weapon with the help of Huey Emmerich.
How's it moving?
I made some modifications. This machine was meant to have a human pilot.
Modifications? Paz, what are you...
Never thought I'd be into machines, huh?
Then Zadornov's escape was a diversion.
Paz, what are you doing?
I'm taking it back.
Taking it back? Where?
To our leaders. To Cipher.
And forced Big Boss back into Cipher's fold by blackmail, threatening to frame the MSF for a nuclear strike on the United States. But the gambit failed. Big Boss disabled Zeke and cast Paz into the sea. What followed was silence, a false calm, until 1975.
Kept you waiting, huh?
That year, Cipher enacted the second phase of its contingency. Chico and Paz were kidnapped under Cipher's orders, used as bait to lure Big Boss into the open. Under the pretense of a nuclear inspection by the IAEA, Cipher embedded their Black Ops unit XOF into the inspection team. What was presented as diplomacy was in fact sabotage, a true Trojan horse.
Trojan horse is in!
As Big Boss left for Camp Omega on a desperate mission to extract the two prisoners, XOF led by Skullface initiated a surprise attack on motherbase. Explosives were planted, structures were sabotaged, and in one coordinated strike, the dream that began in Costa Rica was reduced to fire and steel. Big Boss and Miller barely escaped with their lives.
The inspection was nothing but a smokescreen. I heard explosions, then... They played us like a damn fiddle!
Paz was lost in the chaos, Chico vanished from the narrative, and Motherbase was gone. Cipher had struck deep, not just the infrastructure, but identity, and from its ashes, something else would begin to rise. As we come to know in the story, XOF, or rather a sect of Cipher, Skullface was the reason behind it. But I'd like to find out who truly had the most intentions behind destroying Big Boss's base, and what was the motive behind those that were involved in the incident? Who was truly responsible for the destruction of Big Boss's nation? Before we make it into this deep dive video, I just want to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel, because 89% of you watch my videos, but maybe have just forgotten to hit that sub button. And if you're here, you may as well hit that like button, support the channel, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell, because sometimes YouTube likes to go under the radar when I upload a new video. So there are a few suspects behind the attack, one of them being Major Zero, the once commanding officer of Big Boss. Their relationship isn't exactly on the best of terms. As members of Cipher, Big Boss would eventually disagree with the intelligence network's goals, having a different interpretation of what the boss's will truly meant, as a lot of us come to understand. When Zero feared Big Boss would leave, he had Paramedic enlist in a secret project to create the Sons of Big Boss, used as an insurance policy against him. Kaz knew about this, along with other members in the group. Big Boss eventually found out about the project and was disgusted, outraged, considering it the last and final straw.
Les Enfants Terribles proved to be the final straw for Zero and Big Boss. Determined to oppose Zero and his plans, Big Boss broke away from the Patriots.
Zero's infatuation with Big Boss was clearly unstable. Whilst he idolised him, he also realised the threat Big Boss posed to his own interests and vision. If he couldn't have Big Boss as his icon, nobody could. And he would do whatever it took to force Big Boss into being a symbol, even if he didn't want to.
Zero transformed Big Boss into an icon, neither living nor dead.
Sounds almost like a religion.
We see this during Peace Walker's incident, with Paz being ordered to spy on Big Boss and, under Cipher's command, frame him for a nuclear attack if he refused to rejoin Zero. Zero becomes one of the main suspects behind the attack when we take into account that he had already been willing to destroy Mother Base once before. After Paz fell into the ocean, Cipher took her to Camp Omega, a secret black site for interrogation.
Black site. Nice. A slice of American pie on communist soil, and out of U.S. legal jurisdiction.
The upcoming inspection of Mother Base has to be connected somehow. The timing's too perfect.
The UN's nuclear inspection.
If Zero was truly behind it, it's more than likely he used his covert strike force XOF to carry out the operation with the intent to destroy Mother Base and a clear motive to stop Big Boss from trying to oppose him. He knew Big Boss had Metal Gear Zeke, a nuclear-equipped weapon. That alone made Big Boss a threat, especially if he's got Zero's location.
Word of our capabilities gets out, and we'll have the whole world out to shut us down. Having an American private intelligence agency involved's bad news. Cipher's the ones who sent Paz to us in the first place.
She knows their true nature.
Right. Paz is our only link to Cipher.
Zero's motives are clear. He likely wanted Paz dead, but only after squeezing more information out of her about Big Boss's secret nuke. Paz had once pledged loyalty to Cipher, but after her time on Mother Base, it was obvious she had grown committed to Big Boss and the family he built. We know this because she never gives up Big Boss's location or any information at all. She was willing to die to protect him. Her motives have changed from trying to destroy Mother Base under Cipher's control to wanting to secure it. Her torture sequences prove this.
Is this what they call peace? For some reason, I began to think about all that has happened since I came here. Fishing with Chico, cooking with Amanda and Cecile, playing soccer, having visitors when I caught a cold. When I stop and think about it, my time here has been the most peaceful of my life.
Big Boss or Cipher? You can only save one.
I will never talk.
The choice is not mine to make.
Please, let Big Boss live.
Proceed.
Please.
As well as jumping out of the helicopter with the second bomb that was still lodged inside of her. When she finally breaks, the only thing she gives is the location to Zero, to Skullface, one of the key reasons Zero wanted her dead. A clear mistake on his part, really, for not sticking to secure communications. It bit him in the arse in the end. His motives might have mirrored from before from the Peace Walker incident, this time using Paz and Chico to lure Big Boss away from his home, giving Zero the perfect opportunity to send his unit to plant explosives on the struts of Mother Base, while securing that Big Boss remains alive.
We heard from the advance team. Everything's right on schedule. The C4 has been planted on the legs. Strike team and decoy team are in position. And we have confirmation that Big Boss's chopper is lifted off. A shame I won't see him.
A key figure in this investigation is also Huey Emmerich. He's been convicted of many crimes, and while not everything is 100% definitive, there's a mountain of circumstantial evidence pointing at him.
You forced your own son into the cockpit of a Metal Gear, a test subject.
How?
His mother had to hide him away, and for that you locked her in that coffin.
No! She did it herself! It was suicide! And even if I did, what right do you have?
There's more. We have you to tell us everything you've done, everything you've thought. All this time. 9 years ago, you agreed to the inspection in return for Cipher's guarantee that you'd be spared.
I thought it was real!
We've reviewed into everything else that's happened since you arrived here.
Please.
Guilty!
In The Phantom Pain, Huey would go on to cause the vocal cord parasites on motherbase to mutate by illicitly modifying X-ray scanners on the quarantine platform with a beta ray emitter. When Diamond Dogs discovered the radiation leak, Huey claimed it was nothing to worry about. But this leak led to another outbreak, forcing Snake to kill all of his infected soldiers. Miller deduced Huey's involvement and had him interrogated. They then discovered Huey had caused the Wolbachia to mutate in order to test a new parasite he wanted to sell to Cipher.
And the person who ordered and inspected the equipment was you, Doctor. That makes you the only person with the opportunity to install that emitter.
So now you're saying I sabotaged medical equipment for some wild plan to make the vocal cord parasite kill everyone?
Or maybe you thought it'd reveal a way to treat the parasite without using the Wolbachia. With that much to barter, I suppose some people would welcome even a pathetic cur like you.
Just stop it!
You'd have no shortage of buyers, but most would be happy with just the parasite. You wouldn't need to offer anything else. However, if that buyer already knew about the parasite, they'd also know that by itself, it's no longer the ultimate bargaining chip it once was. To sell to that buyer, you need to throw in a bonus. A way to one-up it. There's only one buyer who'd be after that.
Emmerich, we record all communications on Mother Base. That includes radio transmissions to and from homemade devices. You've been in frequent contact with people in America. A private biotech company, a client of which is DARPA, and they are connected to Cipher.
He was contacting multiple locations in the US, including a biotech firm connected to DARPA, the primary military tech development wing of the government, which by this point is controlled by Cipher. It's highly possible Huey was a member of Cipher from the very beginning. It was Huey who suggested the UN inspection of Mother Base. He even sent a letter indicating MSF had changed their minds about their earlier refusal, getting at least 2 major Western networks to cover the story with news outlets.
The act, Huey? How did we end up agreeing to the nuclear inspection?
Because after you sent that letter, I told them. After careful reconsideration, we agree to your request. And frankly, we should be inspected. This is our chance. If they come and go without discovering the nuke, we can tell the world we're clean. Of course, it's risky, and we'll have to make sure everything's perfect, but it'll be worth it.
Huey, can they do an inspection without going through the Board of Governors?
We contacted the IAEA's admin branch, and they said there's no record of us being brought up at any of the board's meetings.
I'd say probably a preliminary inspection to determine whether we should be referred to the board. So it's bound to be a small inspection team, and they won't be here that long. Don't worry, leave everything to me.
Has the media gotten wind of this?
Yeah, 2 major Western networks want to do stories on us. I planned on saying yes.
What? You want to broadcast this place to the world?
Mother Base had been due for inspection by the IAEA and the UN, all allegedly due to the nuclear fuel that Big Boss purchased from Uzbekistan. But both Miller and Big Boss knew the truth. Cipher wanted to find Zeke and its nuke. They initially refused, but after Huey sent a letter behind their backs, they were then forced to prepare for the inspection. This was all most likely orchestrated by Zero. He used Huey to lower MSF's guard, allowing XOF to come in under the guise of an inspection whilst secretly planting those charges.
I thought our best move was to prove to the UN through the IAEA that we had no nuke. Of course, I was against us having it in the first place, but that was Snake's decision.
Snake, yesterday we received official communication from the IAEA. It says, "It has come to our attention that your organization recently purchased nuclear fuel from Uzbekistan authorities. We request permission to inspect your facilities."
What a load of bullshit.
Yeah, they're after Metal Gear Zeke's nuclear warhead. I'm betting this is payback from Cipher after Paz's leak.
Using the UN.
There's no telling how much influence they have. But the IAEA can only do inspections in countries that are party to the NPT.
And we're not a country.
Exactly. We haven't signed a safeguards agreement with the IAEA over peaceful nuclear use, and we're not obligated to report any nuclear material we have, nor information about any nuclear facilities. The IAEA has no authority to inspect us.
But despite all that
nuke's our last line of defense. We don't want to announce we have it until the world is preparing to wipe us off the map. Until then, we let everyone think we're just a private army with conventional firepower.
The boss wasn't responsible.
Well, don't get me wrong, I still believed in Snake. I thought I was making the best decision for all of us, that's all. I figured we should get a third party to exonerate us before proof of the nuke did get out. And who better to do that than an organization with international authority?
So the truth is, you took it upon yourself to agree to an inspection arranged by the UN. Only the inspection was a ruse, and Cipher's strike force, XOF, showed up instead.
I had no idea that would happen.
Enough bullshit!
Oh, sure, like I could have known. You know, I was just trying to prove our innocence to the world. What's wrong with that?
We're not interested in the excuses you've thought up. The truth is objective.
Just see it from my point of view.
You led XOF to the control tower. They seized it, giving them complete control over the base. Moments later, they detonated C4 on the strut legs. Anyone who'd managed to survive was hunted down by the assault force and their choppers.
You can't believe I did that on purpose.
That was the end of Mother Base. But it wasn't the end for you.
How can you... Look, think about it. I lost something too. I am a victim.
That raises the big questions. Why were you the only one spared? You got away without a scratch. Why did Strangelove leave the base on the eve of the inspection? You two were close.
Strangelove?
And how did you manage to build something that surpasses Zeke in every way? Because you did everything they told you.
Zero didn't care who died. He knew he could draw Big Boss out into safety whilst the plan was enacted. Plus, Paz was a liability to Big Boss, and ensuring her rescue would be a means to silence her in case Paz compromised them to Cipher. Unfortunately, Big Boss did not listen to his instincts. He should have denied all forms of the inspection and decided to remove Huey Emmerich out of his fold, suspecting he could be working for Cipher. Since really no one did suspect him of having a nuke, it was really probably the best move to make. The only person who did was probably Zero. Now, Huey could have just been in the wrong place at the wrong time, genuinely believing the inspection was real. But with so many things that disproves his denials, reports stated that the UN and the IAEA had inspected the site, but in reality, no inspection was due to take place. This made Huey look as guilty as he truly was, as the inspection was never set up, and in fact, they only did so after the fact. What Zero didn't anticipate was Skullface enacting his own plan. Skullface's motives were never to kill Big Boss personally, as a lot of people in the MGS community believe. His actions were a method to draw Zero out of hiding, a means to reach him. Big Boss was just a stepping stone in his wider plans, not out of something personal such as revenge.
What you want to know is, do I hate Big Boss? I don't hate the man.
I do deserve a little more of his gratitude. But he probably... I mean to have my revenge against Zero. It's not petty hatred or resentment.
In Skullface's eyes, destroying Mother Base was just another part of destroying the Major himself. Especially when you realise the entire organisation is funded by Cipher. Zero's mistake wasn't in destroying the base, which may have been the original plan, but in giving Skullface too much of a leash. Skullface planting the secret bombing pass to kill Big Boss was the unknown factor.
She's rigged. Damn it, we were set up. We gotta get it out.
Paz was meant to be silenced, but Skullface had other motives. Ultimately, this led to Mother Base's fall, thanks to the information Chico provided.
Out at sea? Staff of 300? Usually there's... Zeke.
See? That wasn't so hard.
You got what you wanted. Were you satisfied?
Looking at the investigation, it's more than clear that this was Zero's doing. He had the motive. He had previously tried to destroy MSF before, and he had his hand in several global affairs, such as the San Jeronimo and the Peace Walker incident. Even Kaz and Ocelot suspected the Major was behind the attack. They just didn't anticipate Skullface's plans, which made this case even more complex.
Choice. Well, after the Caribbean, my hunch was proven right. You wouldn't believe who was behind it. Oh, I have an idea. How did you respond?
I get what you were trying with Paz. You wanted to get Snake any way you could. But after that, what you did, how could you do that to him?
After that wasn't me. You may not believe this, but I never intended for any of this to happen. My organization has many arms. It's just going to take a little longer before we're all on the same page. I admit I may have been lax in my supervision, but something like that will not happen again.
Whatever. One day, I'll know the truth. Just as soon as the boss wakes up. And then we're coming after you. This ends with you begging us to put you out of your misery.
When you realise Zero didn't kill Skullface, now recognising he was a liability and had gone against his plans, it's telling. Instead, he kept him alive and sent Skullface to Africa to work in parasite research, a decision that would definitely cost him after Skullface poisoned him.
Major?
You son of a... The pin. You...
Yes, the pin. It's too late. They can't extract it.
But what he did to you, I can never forgive. I've sent him to Africa, and I doubt he's coming back.
Why is it the man himself, the man behind the most secretest organisation in the world, be so careless? Not to mention that now he's betrayed Zero and tried to kill Big Boss, that's enough to raise red flags in not to trust him anymore. Isn't it ironic how Zero's insurance plans and agents end up being his downfall? Zero may have destroyed Big Boss's chance to fight back, but thanks to Paz giving up his location, Big Boss by proxy carried out what he intended all along, to defeat Zero. Most assumed it was all XOF's doing, but in reality it was an amalgamation of events that all led back to Zero. Just like everything else in the series, it's surrounded by the Patriots' control. It's something we see in the MSX games, when Zero's insurance policy, Solid Snake, a Patriot pawn, defeats both the Phantom and Big Boss, destroying everything that threatens the Patriots' grip. This investigation really was always clear. To all those involved, it's a puzzle, and every piece always leads to Zero. It's clear Skullface didn't know Big Boss's location until Chico gave it away. More than likely, the Major had already prepared a next step to eliminate Big Boss by alternative means in terms of destroying his base whilst keeping Big Boss intact, with or without Skullface. Which means it's entirely possible Zero orchestrated the destruction of the base while Skullface was trying to locate Zeke and its nuke for his own agenda. Perhaps he maybe already had the coordinates of Big Boss's base thanks to Zero. The Major already knew where Mother Base was. Not only did he provide the funding for it, Paz provided information about the base. He had another sect of XOF destroy it, secured Huey Emmerich for his research alongside Strangelove, who was developing the early AI control systems for Zero at the time, because after the Peace Walker incident, Strangelove left MSF. It's at this time she was working for Cipher. But in this investigation, I announce Zero guilty on all counts.
Guilty! All counts.
However, this court has jurors, such as yourself, and I'm sure you'll determine the outcome for yourself, regardless of what I say. There's a conspiracy that Big Boss was also behind the fall of Mother Base, that he orchestrated its destruction to hide away from the world and build a new nation in secret.
The attack 9 years ago was orchestrated by you yourself. The Big Boss sold out his comrades to hide from the world. He thought that's why you weren't at the base that day.
But there's no substantial evidence to prove this, only interpretations. If anything, it was Big Boss's carelessness and failure to listen to that inner voice that played a part in the fall of his own nation. Same for Kaz, because whilst he might have been a Cipher agent, he was simply in it for the business angle. Whilst he did betray and keep some troops from Big Boss, his ultimate goal was aligned with that of Big Boss's. A military nation, a business that thrives off of war. It does not make any sense that he would destroy something he helped build, and besides, he was there on Mother Base the day the attack happened. Not to mention during the events of the Phantom Pain, he was clearly out for revenge for those fallen comrades in MSF.
He's responsible for all of this! Think of all the men! He didn't lose a damn thing! This is the enemy! And he's here on his knees!
With all of that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching at home or wherever you may be. And if you're new here, please subscribe. And for the old timers, hit that boy a like button. And I'll see you in the next one. And until we meet again.